Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, the first day of August, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, as always, we have a great number of things to celebrate. First, we should mention that August is typically considered the month of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so it's a good time to renew our devotion to that heart that has so loved us. But for August 1st, what are we celebrating today? We have a great number of things. First, the Abbot Orsini tells us that on August 1st, Mary appeared separately to Saint Raymond, a Dominican, King James of Aragon, and Saint Peter Nolasco in order to urge them to establish an order for the redemption of captives. That would later become known as the Royal Celestial and Military Order of Our Lady of Mercy and the Redemption of Captives, sometimes called the Mercedarians, right? So they would literally go and exchange themselves for slaves that the Muslims had captured. Very devoted and interesting order. So yes, again, this is the distinction of it, is their fourth vow, to die if necessary for another who is in danger of losing their faith. Likewise, we'll talk more about this on August 5th, which is really her feast day, but they celebrate the Virgin of Copacabana, or Our Lady of Copacabana, right? Who's venerated in La Paz in Bolivia. She's the patroness of that country. In fact, it was on August 1st, 1925, that she was crowned and declared as Queen of the Nation. Very interesting. But again, we'll come back to that on August 5th because it's a really interesting tradition that we have. Also today, in Marshfield, Wisconsin, the Church of Our Lady of Peace had its cornerstone laid in 1948. It was dedicated on June 12th, 1949. Right. And last but not least, we have the Gospa ut Ochista in Achimash, Osijek Baranka, Slavonia in Croatia. Something like that. So we're told that the Catholics of Achimash in northeastern Croatia have always been devoted to Our Lady of Consolation since 1704, when her statue arrived there as a refugee. Repeatedly, they have responded to disaster, oppression, and destruction by restoring her shrine. It's like what they do, right? So the statue itself dates back to 1697, when they purchased a statue of Our Lady with a crown, scepter, and child for their church in Lug in northeastern Croatia. 7 years later, however, after the Calvinists took over the village and the church, the Jesuits moved the statue to a very poor church in Achimash, 10 miles to the south. So Catholics began making their pilgrimages to Our Lady of Consolation in that town, especially on Marian feast days. In 1708, they started a new church, which was dedicated in 1715. When a fire destroyed the church, the statue, and most of the town in 1846, a copy of the statue was placed in a shrine about 5 miles away in a linden grove near a spring. So then Our Lady under the linden became a popular pilgrimage site, right? In the meantime, the church in Achimash was rebuilt, and in 1857, Bishop Josip Juraj Strossmayer gave it a new statue made in Vienna. Devotions continued in both places for nearly 100 years until the communist era banned them, right? So it was under communist control from 1945 to 1990. Then, on August 1st, 1991, Serbian forces gutted the church and most of the town. The next year, Our Lady's damaged statue was found in the ruins and moved to the city of Osijek nearby. It was on August 1st, 1998, that finally the image was returned to the town of Achimash. On August 1st again, 2003, it revisited Osijek to be crowned by Pope St. John Paul II. Right? Marian Sarkak, the Bishop of Jakovo and Sirem, dedicated the rebuilt Church of Our Lady of Consolation on August 1st, 2004. So we have a whole bunch of August 1st celebrations, right? When the image was returned to the church, when it was crowned by John Paul II, and then when it was the rebuilt church was rededicated. So that is what we're celebrating in the Marian world today, August 1st. For today's Marian meditation, taken from the book by Father Ildefonso Villar, we continue with meditation 92, entitled Mother Omnipotent, and we will read the first part of the consideration of the universal power. Right? This all-powerfulness is not limited to one place or one time or to some privileged class of souls, to one particular order of graces and helps, or to one special kind of petition or prayer. Nothing of the kind. It is universal. It knows no limits of any sort. We are all children of Mary. She will help us all. She will love us all without exception. All and in all, both spiritually and temporally. No need is beyond her power. No benefaction exhausts her hands, nor can time weaken the efficacy of her graces. If Mary made saints of other souls, if others were raised to the life of grace, if others were helped in diverse manners, all this can happen to you. Your soul can also achieve pardon, grace, life, sanctity. Since the first sin was committed, the devil became a universal and all-powerful power, an all-world power, subjecting all souls, the whole world over, to temptation. He enkindles the passions in them in order to enchain souls. How frightful is this dominion of the devil, and how universal! Who has not experienced it? Only Our Lady, by her most pure conception, escaped this captivity. In fact, she binds him, subdues him, masters him. She pursues him everywhere and combats and conquers him always. The dominion of the devil is universal, but so likewise is the all-powerfulness of Mary. Her triumph will be universal and eternal. But her victory is not hers alone. It is also ours. No one has recourse to her and has trust in her in vain. All the saints, all those who withstand the devil, do so because of Mary. Without Mary, their efforts would have been futile. For today's reading from the Admirable Heart of Mary, we continue with chapter 13, in which the saint talks about the Magnificat. He's giving his sort of exegesis of it, and we'll consider, "He hath received Israel his servant." Okay, so this first line is actually, it's a whole paragraph that's one sentence. It's 10 lines. Okay. "But finally the Son of God, mindful of his mercy, which he seemed to have forgotten for more than 4,000 years, recordatus misericordiae suae," meaning he remembered his mercy, "and of the promise he had made to Adam, Abraham, David, and a number of the prophets, to draw the human race from the pit of evil, himself descended from heaven into the virgin bosom of the handmaid Mary, where to his divine person he united the wretched human nature which he had abandoned, becoming man in order to save all men who long to be numbered among the true Israelites, that is, who seek to believe in him and love him." That is what the Blessed Virgin announces to us through these words: "He hath received Israel his servant, being mindful of his mercy." For several holy doctors explain them as the mystery of the Incarnation. This verse forms the conclusion of her inspired canticle. It is a recapitulation of its ineffable mysteries. It is the end of the law and the prophets, the dispersal of the shadows, the consummation of the symbols. It is as if Our Lady were saying, "Here is the fulfillment of the predictions of the prophets. Here is the fruition of the truth of the promises of God. This is what impels me to sing from the depths of my heart. My soul doth magnify the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God my Savior. This is the great cause of my joy and delight. This is what will make me proclaimed blessed by all nations. These are the great things that the Almighty has done to me. This is the origin and inexhaustible source of the unfathomable graces and mercies that God will shed on generation after generation of all who fear him. These are the greatest miracles of his infinite might and immense bounty. This is what will exalt the humble and bring ruin to the proud. He hath received Israel his servant." But what is this Israel? Several saints affirm that these words must be applied first of all to the people of Israel, the Son of God having willed to be made man and take birth from the Israelites, notwithstanding their past ingratitude and the outrages that he was to receive at their hands. I say first of all, for the divine word also united himself with all human nature, and not only with the people of Israel.
Hello, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to our Marian podcast. In the spirit of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, we say to you that there is no greater delight than to spread the devotion of Our Lady. We hope you share these sentiments and encourage you greatly to share with a loved one. Know that you are always in our prayers, and we ask that you keep us in yours. God bless.